Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the new Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette, and the version I've got here is the light version. Now this is the palette I'm wearing on my eyes and my face right now. So after the review and my swatches, if you're interested to see how the shades applied and how the whole palette worked, you can just kind of watch it at the end of the video. So as mentioned, this is the light version of the palette. We have 5 eyeshadows and 2 face products, which is a blush and a highlight. From what I have read on her Instagram, all of the eyeshadows are new shades and they're also a new formula. I'll just firstly talk to you about the formula of the shades. So unfortunately, I do not own any of her big eyeshadow palettes, so I can't really compare whether the formula is any better or any worse than in her bigger eyeshadow palettes. I only own some of her like mini palettes. But I did notice that these eyeshadows did work better than in her mini palettes. The shades blend really well. There was a little bit of fallout and there was a little bit of a kickback in the pan when I was putting my brush into the shades. The mattes blend really lovely. They blend really well together and they're extremely soft. What I've noticed when I was applying this shade here and I've made a little bit of a mistake and I wanted to kind of just blend it out, I noticed that the shade was just blending away. So that's how soft they are. They're very easy to work with. So yeah, they kind of I just kept blending and blending. There was no patch, but the shade just kind of blended away, if that makes any sense. In terms of these 2 topper shades, I didn't find them to be any better or any worse to what I have experienced in her small palettes. There is still a fallout when you apply them. There were bits of glitter all over my face when I was trying to apply the shades, which it is a little bit annoying. I found that the best payoff for these shades is when you use your finger instead of a brush. Again, it's exactly the same when using her small palette. So I haven't found them any worse or any better in those terms. Moving on to the actual color story of the shades. When looking online at some swatches and when looking at Natasha Denona's like Instagram and her YouTube video, these shades come across more cool toned. I thought these would be actually a little bit more cool toned, but these are actually very warm shades. I am 99% sure you already own these eyeshadows, these colors here, especially if you probably own her other palettes. These are such easily dupable shades, okay? In terms of the blush, and the blush didn't really blow me away. The highlight is a really beautiful highlight, but I've got some other highlights that I'm just gonna kind of swatch next to it and see whether we can maybe dupe it. You know, the palette is really expensive. It is £51, and if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I probably would not bother picking it up at all. I know it's a face palette, but you know, looking at these shades, the color story, I'll kind of think, oh, actually looking maybe at Patrick Ta palette, which is like forever sold out, I would probably prefer, you know, that eyeshadow palette. But again, I know this is meant to be for like traveling, and you know, it's meant to be a face palette as well. But yeah, do you know what, I would just skip it. I personally think I would skip it. Yes, the formula is nice, it's okay, but most of the companies now have really good formula of eyeshadows, so it's nothing extraordinary. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna go ahead and insert the swatches for you. Okay, now I'm just kind of interested to see whether we can maybe do some swatches, some other swatches, and compare the actual highlight from the palette to highlights from her. I've got the diamond and blush palette in Daria, and I'm really interested to see whether we can see any similarities between the Becca one, the Champagne Pop. So let's just get on with swatching. So, oh, as always, guys, my swatches are done in natural lighting. So this is the Natasha Denona from the Glam Face Palette. There's just one thing I've also noticed. I mean, they do say it's a light palette, but anyone with actually lighter skin tone than mine, you might actually like find this a little bit too dark. Same with the blush, quite possibly. Let's go with the Champagne Pop by Becca. So that's Champagne Pop. Sorry, the lighting just keeps changing. The formula of this, it's actually of this, I highlighted from the Glam Face Palette. It's actually really lovely. It is a nice type of a highlighter. It's very smooth. I do also want to swatch the highlight from the Charlotte Tilbury Nude Gasm palette. Let's see. So I'm just gonna put Nude Gasm here. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go and check the highlighters from her Diamond and Blush palette. The one I've got, as I said, is in a shade, well, it's a version of Daria. I'm gonna firstly go ahead and use the cream shade, and then we're gonna move on to the Glow Extreme shade. And the powder one. Okay, so these two are not as maybe like peachy warm as these ones. Okay, I do also have her mini Blush and Glow palette, which is actually one of my favorite palettes. Let's just put it on here. Yeah, okay, this is not as, yeah. So I think these three here are the most similar together. But as I said, if you have a think about it, look how much lighter are these shades to what you have here. So anyone with very light skin tones, you may find it a little bit too dark. In terms of her actual eyeshadows, as I said, I don't unfortunately own any other eyeshadow palettes of hers, so I can't really do any swatches, but I'm sure there's already plenty of reviews with comparison swatches that you can go ahead. The only shade I kind of found similar in the palettes I have, so this shade here from her mini retro palette and the transition shade, they seem to be quite similar. This is what I'm saying, if you already own some of her other palettes, probably more than I do, then you are 100% gonna dupe the shades. So this is the one from the Glam Face Palette, and this is from the mini retro palette, very similar. Right, I'm gonna now move on to showing you how the shades apply and how the blush and the highlight apply. So if you're interested, then just keep watching, otherwise I will see you in my next video. Take care. Okay, I'm basically going to use the shades as they are labeled here. I know some people don't like this idea of having a palette tell them what to do, but it doesn't bother me. I'm just gonna do what it says here. So I'm just gonna use this shade in the transition, this shade in a crease, this shade as a smoke, so in my outer corner, and then we're gonna use these two topper shades on all over my lid. So the only thing I've got on my eyelids is just a concealer, not set with anything at all, so just a very simple base. I'll now go ahead and apply the crease shade. Using the smoke shade, I'm just going to be darkening my outer corner. Okay, I will go ahead now and use the topper shades. So I'm just gonna go firstly with this outer corner shade and put it all over my lid, and then the inner corner kind of inner corner. To finish off my eyes, I'm just gonna go under my eyes with the smoke shade. Okay, so that's eyes done, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of the palette, which we are gonna go with the cream blush, and we're gonna go with the Star Glow highlighter. With the cream blush, I'm gonna go ahead and use my beauty blender. The only thing I've got on my face now is just the Patrick Ta contour. Nothing else is on there. But let's see. It's got a really good color payoff. And let's go ahead with highlight. Well, the highlight is really pretty. Well, that is a very intense highlight. Okay, that's it for using and demoing this palette. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. So take care. Bye.